This is the book of 2 Kings chapter 2 and verse 11. And it came to pass as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. First off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone GMS that rule well, that patiently labor in order to give us this truth and this wisdom and this knowledge. Peace and salutations unto the Lord's elect, beginning with the 144,000, and to all you alchemy brothers that rule well, that taught us his word in truth and in sincerity. To you I say Shalom, may Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai have mercy on you in these last days. I am the brother Halarium from the Great Millstone GMS Chicago camp, and this lesson is titled, The UFOs Are the Chariots of the Lord. And this lesson is going to be a response to the Elder Apostle Tahar on his page, GMS Declaring the End. And in this video, he does a commentary on Tucker Carlson saying that the UFOs are piloted by angels of the Lord. Let me read the title of this article, and it says, Tucker Carlson says UFOs are piloted by spiritual entities with bases under the ocean and the ground. And this right here is what the men of Great Millstone have been saying for years, that the UFOs are piloted by the angels of the Lord, and that the Lord is going to come back with so-called UFOs, the chariots. So all this stuff is proof that these, famous people have been listening to the prophets, man, and have been watching our videos and taking in our content, man, because they know that what we're speaking is the 100% truth. So without further ado, I'm going to go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1, and I'll start at verse 4, and it says, And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber out of the midst of the fire. So the prophet Ezra is describing an amber-colored chariot, man. He's describing a so-called UFO in the sky that looked like a fire enfolding itself. Verse 5 says, Also out of the midst thereof came out the likeness of 4 living creatures, which these were angels, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. And every one had 4 faces, and every one had 4 wings. So to break this down, the angels, they are the ones that pilot the chariots, man. They're the ones that control the so-called UFOs, which is why the UFOs can shapeshift, change different colors, move faster than any jet, move faster than the speed of sound, because they're being controlled by the angels of the Lord. And this is verse 7, and it says, Their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. So these angels were so-called black men, man. They had burnished brass skin. And in brass, already being a brown metal, if you put brass into a furnace, it burns and it turns a dark brown color. So the angels are piloted, the UFOs are controlled by angels, man, with dark skin, just like the Lord had. When it tells you about a description in the book of Revelation, chapter 1, and verse 13 to 15. Now let's skip down to verse 15. And it says, Now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces. And the appearance of their wheels and their work was like unto the color of beryl, and they 4 had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel, which is describing a so-called UFO. That's how a UFO is described, man, as a flying saucer, a wheel within a wheel. And Tucker Carlson, in that YouTube video, he said that according to Ezekiel, the first chapter, that the UFOs are the chariots of the Lord, man. So these people know that what we're saying is the 100% truth. So I went on this artificial intelligence, this AI app, and I told the app to put down an amber chariot, and this is what the images show. So this right here is a visual description of what the prophet Ezekiel saw, man. A strange apparition, a so-called UFO, a chariot. Now from there, let's go to the book of Exodus, chapter 24. And I'll start at verse 9. And it says, Then went up Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and the 70 elders of Israel, And they saw the God of Israel, which is talking about Yahweh Shai, because no man can see the Most High Yahweh. And it says, and they saw the God of Israel, and it was under his feet as if it were a paved work of sapphire stone, and as it were the body of heaven in its clearness. And this right here, you know, Moses and our forefathers, they saw Yahweh Shai standing on top of a blue chariot, man, a sapphire colored chariot. So I went on this artificial intelligence app and asked the app to give me an image of a sapphire chariot. And these are the images that showed up, man, which once again shows you a perfect description of what Moses and our forefathers likely saw. So now I'm going to read these scriptures with this image right next to it, so you can get a more of a visual description of what Moses was seeing. This is Exodus chapter 24 and verse 9, and it says, Then went up Moses and Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and the 70 elders of Israel, and they saw the most high power of Israel, and it was under his feet as if it were a paved work of sapphire stone, and as it were the body of heaven in its clearness. So the Moses and Aaron and our forefathers saw a sapphire-colored so-called UFO, man. You know, let's read it in the NLT. It says, There they saw the God of Israel, they saw Yahweh Shai, and under his feet there seemed to be a surface of brilliant blue lapis lazuli, as clear as the sky itself. So they saw a strange apparition, a sapphire chariot in the sky. You know, you can imagine, you know, in real life seeing something like this and how amazed that you would be. So imagine the reaction that our forefathers had by seeing a sapphire chariot, man. You know, all these things are written within these scriptures, man, for the prophets. From there, let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 68. And let's go to I'll start at verse 16. It says, Why leap ye, ye high hills? This is the hill which God desireth to dwell in. Yea, the Lord will dwell in it forever. It's talking about Mount Zion, the Israelites, the Lord's chosen people. Verse 17 says, The chariots of God are 20,000, even thousands of angels, and the Lord is among them as in Sinai in the holy place. So like it says in the book of Ezekiel, these chariots are being piloted by thousands of angels, man. And there are numerous amounts of chariots. And you can even look at certain videos on YouTube where you'll see a chariot break up into several pieces, man, into multiple chariots. So these UFOs have infinite amount of power. They can shapeshift. They can move fast in the speed of sound, the speed of light. In the U.S. government, they had no choice but to reveal these things, man. And there's been UFO sightings all over the world, but where have the majority of the UFO sightings been? In America, because the Lord is watching over this place right now, man. And he's seeing the wickedness that's going on. He's going to judge this place. Now let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13. And I'll start at verse 1. And it's talking about the coming of Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And it came to pass, after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the ways thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven, right? The thousands of chariots and angels. That's how the Lord is going to make his grand return, his second coming. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him. So when these people see the Lord coming back and these chariots in the sky, they're going to be terrified, man. And rightfully so. Verse 4 says, And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth falleth when they feel it a fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a great multitude of men out of the number of the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came forth out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. Man, was talking about a chariot, a gigantic chariot. And verse 7 says, But I would have seen the region where the place whereof the hill was graven, but I could not see. So the chariot was so big that the prophet Ezra couldn't even see the end of it. That's how large the chariot was, and that's how the Lord is going to return with thousands of chariots, man, all ranging in different sizes and colors, and you know, all types of things, man. But there's going to be one chariot that's going to be bigger than all the others, and it's going to blot out the sun. Now from there, let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 10. Now start at verse 1. Moreover, brethren, I would not that ye should be ignorant how that all of our fathers were under the cloud that passed throughout the sea, and were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea, which is referring to the pillar of the cloud that led the Israelites through the Red Sea. You know, when the Israelites came out of Egypt, and all did eat the same spiritual meat, and all did drink the same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them, and the rock was Hamashiach, man. So this was talking about a chariot that followed the Israelites out of Israel to guide them to safety. This is what it's talking about, man. And when it's referring to clouds, matter of fact, I just go on Google, type in UFO cloud, and this right here is what the Bible is referring to when it's talking about the clouds of heaven. You know, a so-called UFO. Let's read this. It says, UFO-shaped cloud stuns eyewitnesses in Turkey. And there's been multiple sightings of these things all across the world because these are the signs of heaven and the signs that the Most High is watching over a certain place, man. Whether it be to judge them or whether it be to deliver the Israelites. You know, the UFO is the pillar of the clouds. Now, from there, let's go to the book of Exodus, chapter 14. Let's go to verse 19. It says, and the angel of the Lord, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them in a pillar of a cloud, like the same cloud we just had. Let me pull the image back up. These clouds right here are so-called UFO. And the angel of God, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them in a pillar of a cloud, went before their face and stood behind them. So the Lord used the chariot to lead the people out of Israel, man. Because a lot of people will try to disprove the chariot theory and say, oh, why would the Lord need a chariot? The Lord uses chariots for many things, man. And Yahweh Shema Shai can do whatever he wants to do. And this is how the Israelites came out of Egypt, man, by the Lord using a chariot, a pillar of a cloud, like the same cloud that you see in here, a UFO cloud, to lead the Israelites to safety from the hands of all their enemies and the people that were oppressing them. Verse 20, and it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel, and it was a cloud and darkness to them, but it gave light by night to these, so that one came not near to the other all the night. Let's read it in the NLT, and it says, the cloud settled between the Egyptian and the Israelite camps. As darkness fell, the cloud turned to fire, lighting up the night, but the Egyptians and the Israelites did not approach each other at night because one side of the chariot was light, so that it can lead the Israelites to safety, and the other side was darkness, man. So that the Egyptians couldn't see the Israelites and persecute and chase down the Israelites, man. That's what the Lord did, and it was a brilliant plan. So from there, let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 104, and verse 1. And it says, bless the Lord, O my soul, O Lord, my power. Thou art great, thou art clothed with honor and majesty, who covereth thyself with light as with a garment, who stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot. These same clouds that you see right here with this UFO shape, who walketh upon the wings of the wind, man. So the Lord created the chariots, man, for many purposes, so that when the Israelites, read about these things, they seen the chariots, they could know that it's a sign that the Lord is watching over them, man. There's videos of brothers, recording chariots in the sky, and they're not fearful like these other people, man. We're happy when we see chariots because we know that the Lord is among them and that the angels of the Lord are watching over us, man. The angels encampeth about those that fear him, man, which is the men of Yahweh Shema Shai. So we don't care if you people get scared of the so-called UFOs, man. We know that those are the signs of, matter of fact, Salaki. It says, Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 2. Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the ways of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them, man. So these heathens, they're scared of seeing so-called UFOs because they don't know that they're piloted by the angels of the Lord and that they're going to give salvation to the Lord's elect, man. So that's why the men of Yahweh by Shemal Shai, we rejoice when we see chariots, man, because we know that that's how the elect is going to be delivered. And that brings me to this final scripture, which is in the book of Thessalonians, chapter 1, and verse 4, and I'll start at verse 16. And it says, "For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, and the voice of the archangel, with the trump of God, and the dead and Hamashiach shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds," these clouds you see right here, "to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord," man. So the elect of Yahweh by Shemal Shai are going to be delivered through the chariots, man. You know, and this is what you see right here. This is how the elect of Yahweh by Shemal Shai are going to be delivered. They're going to be brought into the chariot, man. And they're going to reign and be heirs with the Lord forever. So I hope this lesson was edifying. With that, I want to give all praise, all honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone GMS that rule well. Shalom and Abba Babal.